So good morning, class. And I would like to greet you all Happy New Year. So today is January 4, 2021, and we're back again to our classes. And I hope we could start again a new year with great possibilities for us. No? So we have just finished with the module 1 to 4, and we'll be starting again with module 5 and 6. So they're in our topic, in our class. There will be 6 modules, no? 6 ang module natin. So definitely we'll be finishing our topics until the end of January or the first week of February. Okay, so let's start with our topic. Topic for module 5 is all about process selection. Okay, so in our module 5, week 12, we have 3 lessons: lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. Okay, which is in the introduction, and then the process selection, and what is technology. Okay, so we will now start with introduction. So the introduction, it tries to define about process selection. So process selection, sinasabi dito, it refers to deciding on the way production of goods or services will be organized. It has major implications for capacity planning, layout of facilities, equipment, and design of work systems. So in process selection, dito ina-identify natin kung paano natin matatapos, or how would we able to attain that certain objective, how would we able to finish that certain output, no? Ano yung gagawin natin, ano yung mga process na ginagawa natin. So that is what we call process selection. What are those steps that are we going to do, ano yung mga steps na gagawin natin in order to finish that certain objective. Okay, so process selection occurs as a matter of course when new products or services are being planned. However, it also occurs periodically due to technological changes in products or equipment, as well as competitive pressures of where process selection and capacity planning fit into the design, into the system design. So, depende kung may mga bagong technology or may mga bagong product ka ngayon, no? So, that's how would we able to select those certain processes. For example, gusto mong magluto. Gusto mong magluto ng kanin. There are different ways in how we able to cook yung bigas, diba? May mga process na gagamit ka ng rice cooker. Yung isa, may process na gagamit ka ng kalan. Yung isa, hindi ko gagamit ng kalan. Gagamit siya ng kahoy pagluto ng kanin. So there are 3 ways to attain the certain objective kung yung makakapagluto ka ng kanin. Now, kung ano yung gusto mong mas madali, yung kunyari, mas madali ang pagluluto ng kanin through the use of rice cooker. Okay, yun yung gagawin mo. It's already the part of what we call process selection. Yun na yung tinatawag natin process selection. Identifyin mo kung ano yung magagamitin mo, identifyin mo kung ano yung mga materials na gagamitin mo. That's one part of what we call process selection. Okay? So, forecast, product and service design, and technological consideration all influence capacity planning and process selection. So, what do we have? Ano yung kailangan natin? O ano yung existing na meron tayo? Yun ang gagamitin natin. For example, no? Dun sa example natin, sa pagluto ng kanin. We do not have any gusto mong magluto ng kanin na gamit ang kahoy, gamit ang kalan, wala ka namang kalan, wala ka namang kahoy. So definitely, rice cooker ang gagamitin mo. So yung availability, yung tinatawag natin na availability of resources. Not only that these resources not only entails of kung ano yung meron ka, kundi yung what is already existing what is already existing in your own part, no? In your own part. Okay. So, moreover, capacity and process selection are interrelated and are often done in concert. Okay. They in turn affect facility and equipment choices, layout, and work design. So, sama-sama yan. Pag sinabing work in concert, pang maramihan yung ginagamit natin. Okay? So, in figure 6.1, it provides an overview of how an organization approaches process selection is determined by the organization's process strategy. The key aspects include the capital intensity. What do we have? Ano yung meron tayo? Okay, in terms of capital, financial resources, human resources, physical resources. Those are what we call the mix of equipment and labor that will be used in the organization. Sino yung mga tao na kailanganin mo? Ano yung mga skills na kailangan mo? Ano yung mga talents na kailangan mo in order to attain that certain objective, in order to finish that certain project. Okay? So, what else? Do you have the equipments? Ano yung mga machines? Ano yung mga tools na kailanganin mo? Do you have this available resources? Okay? Kunyari, mag-aayos ka ng isang bahay, maglilinis ka ng isang bahay. Paano ka makakapaglinis kung wala ka namang cleaning materials? It's one point, no? So, you should have available resources in order for you to finish those certain project. Okay? Then, the next one is process flexibility. Okay? Yung tinatawag nating process flexibility is the degree to which the system can be adjusted to changes in processing requirements due to such factors as changes in product or service design, changes in volume processed, and changes in technology. Okay? How can you able to be flexible? For example, with the available resources that you have, how can you be resourceful? No? How can you able to adjust to these certain concepts of yung pagbabago dun sa, kasi in every activity, in every project, hindi natin maiiwasan. There are certain possibilities na magbabago yung course of the project. So definitely, how can you be flexible enough to adjust to these certain changes, to adjust to these certain concepts for you to be able to again attain your objective, no? So process flexibility. How can you be easily adjust to these certain concepts? Okay? That's one recourse. So, for example, may project ka, gusto mong tapusin yung paglilinis sa bahay nyo. You do not have cleaning materials. Ano yung gagawin mo? What are you going to use? Okay? Kailangan mo bang humiram? Kailangan mo bang mag-produce? Okay, how can you able to be flexible in this certain type of process? So that's what we call process flexibility. Okay? Then we have what we call process selection. Okay? So in process selection, this is what we call process choice is demand driven. The two key questions in process selection are how much variety will the process need to be able to handle, and how much volume will the process need to be able to handle. So, gaano karami? Gaano kadami yung gagawin mo in order to finish that certain project? Okay? Gaano kadaming gagawin mo? And gaano karami ang gagawin mo in order to finish that project? Okay? So that's what we call process selection. Those are those two, key questions. Okay? So, answers to these questions will serve as a guide to selecting an appropriate process. Usually, volume and variety are inversely related. A higher level of one means a lower level of the other. For example, yung volume. Gaano karami yung gagawin mo? Ilang pieces? Okay? So, on that certain factor, if you focus on that, how many or how much, okay, how many in terms of pieces or capacity, ilan yung gagawin mo. So, you try to again, you try again to think of kaya ba natin itong gawin because of this certain capacity, ganito kadami. Okay? Kaya ba natin gawin kasi nagadumi na marami namang process na paggagawin niya. Madami tayong gagawin para matapos lang ang project na ito. That's one part. Okay, so variety means other having separate operations for each product or service with a steady demand for each, or being willing to live with some idle time, or to get equipment ready every time there is a need to change the product being produced or the service being provided. Okay, variety means how many actions that we need to do in order to attain the objective. Are there some other factors that we need to do in order to attain that certain objective? Okay, ang ibig ko sabihin, may mga bagay pa bang dapat nating kailangan bang gawin para matapos ito? Or are there any steps? Are there any more steps? May iba pa bang options para na magawa natin ito? Mapapatapos natin yung project. That's what we call variety. Okay, so there are different process types. Okay, in producing a certain products, there are different variety or there are different forms kung paano natin ma-attain yung isang objective or matapos yung isang project. We have what we call a job shop. A job shop usually operates on a relatively small scale. It is used when a low volume of high variety of goods or services will be needed. Okay, processing is intermittent. Work includes small job, each of which with different processing requirements. Okay. Intermittent, occurring at irregular intervals, not continuous or steady. For example, furniture making. Okay. Furniture making is an example of job shop. Ginagawa niyan. Pero ang ginagawa mo, hindi pang maramihan niya ginagawa. Ginagawa niya ng isang bagay kasi yun lang ang order. Yun lang ang order ng isang customer. Okay. High flexibility using general purpose equipment and skilled workers are important characteristics of a job shop. A manufacturing example of job shop is a furniture shop that is able to produce different kinds of chairs and tables. A service example is a veterinarian office, which is able to process a variety of animals and variety of injuries and diseases. Okay, so yun yung tinatawag natin job shop. Okay. Kasi that's only the thing that they're going to produce. That's only the thing that they're going to do. Okay? That's what we call job shop. Okay. Yung batch processing naman, batch processing is used when moderate volume of goods or services is desired, and it can handle a moderate variety in products or services. The equipment need not be as flexible as in job shop, but processing is still intermittent. The skill level of workers doesn't need to be as high as in job shop because there is a less variety in the jobs being processed. For example, yung bakery. Okay, batch processing, that is only the certain batch that we can be able to produce because that is only the capacity of that certain business establishment. Kasi yun lang yung kaya niyang gawin. So that's one part of what we call batch processing. No? Example, 30 kilos lang ang kaya niyang gawin na pandesal, na arena na pandesal na kaya niyang gawin in a certain production. In that certain 30 kilos, that's only one batch. Tapos gagawa na naman sila ng ibang batch. That's another 30 kilos. That's another batch. Kaya nga batch processing. That's the easiest way to identify yung tinatawag nating batch processing. Okay? Yung tinatawag natin in service type, yung sa airline, dun sa airline industry. Okay? Other example of products that lend themselves to batch production are paint, ice cream, soft drinks, beer, magazines, and books. Other examples of service includes plays, concert, music videos, radio and television programs, and public addresses, announcements. Okay? So, yung tinatawag nating batch processing because that's only the capacity. Yun lang kayang i-handle nung establishment na i-produce. So that's only the certain batch. Okay? Pag gagawa na naman sila, another batch. For example, dun sa aeroplano, dun sa transportation, i-deliver niya yung sa transportation, transport passengers from point A to point B, yung isang bus. Yung isang bus, ang capacity niya is 45. One batch na yun. That ita-transport niya from point A to point B. That's one batch. Another bus is one batch. That's on the type of service. Pero yung sa production, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung example ko kanina sa inyo, is about yung doon sa pag-produce. Pag-produce ng kunyari, pandesal, cookies. Okay? That's what we call batch processing. Okay? Repetitive process have been defined as those involving the process of a material or workpiece by sequence of passes of the processing tool, yung paulit-ulit yung pagkaagawa. Okay? When the higher volumes of more standardized goods or services are needed, repetitive processing is used. The standardized output means only slight flexibility of equipment is needed. Skill of workers is generally low. Kasi karamihan yung repetitive machines yung ginagawa. Yun na lang paulit-ulit na ginagawa from day 1 until to the last day. Paulit-ulit. For example, no DJ ko ang ginagawa mo is yung repetitive. No, gugugas na bubrayan mo, nagugugas na tan. That is one part of repetitive. Okay. In the industry of assembly, no, same is also in the industry of assembly, yung sa car assembly, that is what we call repetitive. Paulit-ulit yung ginagawa kasi nag-assemble sila. Next is continuous production. Is a flow of production method used to manufacture, produce, or process materials without interruption. Continuous, dire-diretso. Examples, the soda production or refilling. Dire-diretso yung production. Hindi siya intermittent, hindi siya pwedeng mag-stop. Kasi pag nag-stop yung production, nag-stop yung pagkakagawa, stop na lahat yung buong production. Okay? That is what we call continuous production. Continuous yung pagkakagawa. Okay. So, ito yun. We have the different advantages and disadvantages of the different types of process selection, the job shop, the batch, the repetitive, and the continuous. Okay, so we have here in job shop, it is described as customized goods or services. Its advantages is able to handle a wide variety of work. Disadvantage is low, high cost per unit, complex planning and scheduling. Under batch production, semi-standardized goods or services. Okay, and it is flexible, easy to add or change products or services. Moderate cost, yung isang disadvantage niya. Per unit, moderate scheduling complexity. Standardized goods for repetitive or assembly. Low unit cost, high volume efficient, madami siyang matatapos, madami siyang magagawa. Low flexibility, high cost of downtime. Then, continuous, highly standardized goods or services. Very efficient, very high volume, very rigid, lack of variety. Hindi pwedeng baguhin. Okay. Lack of costly to change, very high cost of downtime. Okay. So, yan yung advantages and disadvantages ng different types of process selection. Okay. Then the last one is what we call a project. Okay? Yung a project is used to work that is non-routine with the unique set of objectives to be accomplished in a limited time frame. Examples range from simple to complicated, including such things as putting on a play, consulting, making a motion picture, launching a new product or service, publishing a book, building a dam, and building a bridge. Basically, ang classification ng tinatawag natin project, is where yung materials are being transported to a certain location. A certain location that is considerably what we call a project. No? yung, for example, shipbuilding, you cannot produce anywhere. No? So, doon lang sa shipyard siya dapat ginagawa. Construction of a house, that's what we call a project. On a limited time basis, yun, ginagagawin mo lang yun kasi that's only on a certain time, on a certain period. That's what we call project. Okay. Then we have product and service profiling. Product or service profiling is linking key product or service requirements to process capabilities. Can be used to avoid any considerations. Considerations and inconsistencies by identifying key product or service dimensions and then selecting appropriate processes. Key dimensions often relate to range of products or services that will be processed, expected order sizes, pricing strategies, expected frequency of schedule changes, and order winning requirements. Okay. Then we have sustainable production of goods and services. Okay. Yung sustainable production, we focus again on sustainability. Does it contribute to the environment, or does it contribute to the betterment of the environment, or does it contribute to the degradation of the environment? Nakakasira ba ito yung ginagawa mo sa pagpuproduce ng mga services, sa pagpuproduce ng mga goods? Does it contribute, does it benefit our environment, or does it contribute waste to our environment? Okay, so those are what we call sustainable production of goods and services. On lean process design is guided by general principles that are discussed more fully in a later chapter. Okay? Pag-uusapan natin yan sa lesson 4 and 5. Lean process design has broad applications in seemingly diverse areas such as healthcare. Yung lean process is how would we able to limit time. We are trying to focus here is the time. Gaano kabilis mapatapos, mapapaliit ba natin yung time, mapashorten ba natin yung time in producing certain goods. That's what we call a lean process design. Okay, then we have what we call lesson 5.3, which is what we call technology. Okay. Technology refers to applications of scientific discoveries to the development and improvement of goods and services and or processes that produce or provide them. It can involve such factors as knowledge, materials, methods, and equipment. So under technology, we have what we call process technology. Under process technology, yung one good example ito is yung tinatawag nating automation. Okay, how can we able to automate with the use of different equipments, no? Automation is machinery that has sensing and control devices that enable it to operate automatically, okay, with the use of equipments, tools. No-automate na natin. Kasi pag meron na tayong automation in our process technology, mas mababilis na natin ang paggagawa ng mga products natin. That's one part of the advantages of having technology in our process selection. Okay? So there are different kinds of automation: fixed automation, and programmable automation, and flexible automation. Okay? So those are the three kinds of automation. Okay. So we end here on our week 12. So all of your requirements again should be passed until Sunday. Okay, so today is January 4. You can submit it until Sunday. Okay, so definitely malapit na tayong matapos ang topic natin sa operations management with DQM. Okay, so again, good morning to everyone. So please take time to read again the module, and definitely I'll be preparing again for your final exam probably by February. So again, your activities should be passed until Sunday. So good day everyone.